Chapter 3. The geographical setting. The history of India cannot be understood without some knowledge of its geography. The Indian subcontinent is as large in area as Europe without Russia. Its total area is 42 lakh 2500 square kilometers. The subcontinent is divided in three countries: India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. India has this much people. Pakistan has 50 lakh, and Bangladesh has 75 lakh. Okay, India comprises 22 states and 9 union territories. These are old information. Okay. Some of the states are larger than many European countries. For instance, Bihar is as large in area as England, and Madhya Pradesh is larger than several European countries. The Indian subcontinent is a well-defined geographical unit, mostly situated in the tropical zone. It is bounded by the Himalayas on the north and seas on the other three sides. The Himalayas protect the country against the cold Arctic winds blowing from Siberia through Central Asia. This keep the climate of North India fairly warm throughout the year. Since the cold is not so severe in the plains, people do not need heavy clothing and can live in the open for longer periods. Secondly, the Himalayas are high enough to shield the country against invasions from the north. This was especially true in pre-industrial times when communities were very difficult. However, on the northwest, the Suleiman mountain ranges, which are in southward continuation with the Himalayas, could be crossed through the Khyber and Komal passes. The Suleiman ranges are joined. The Suleiman ranges are joined southward in Baluchistan by the Kirtar ranges, which could be crossed through the Bolan Pass. Through these passes, two-way traffic between India and Central Asia has been going on from prehistoric times. Various peoples from Iran, Afghanistan, and Soviet Central Asia came to India as invaders and immigrants, and vice versa. Even the Hindu Kush, the westward extension of the Himalayan system, did not form an inseparable barrier between the Indus system and the Oxus system. The passes facilitated trade and cultural contacts between India on the one hand and Central Asia and West Asia on the other. Nestled in the Himalayas are the valleys of Kashmir and Nepal. Surrounded on all sides by high mountains, the valley of Kashmir developed its own way of life, but it could be reached through several passes. Its winter compelled some of its people to go to the plains, and its summer attracted the shepherds of the plains. Economic and cultural interaction between the plains and the valley was continuous. The Pamir Plateau did not prevent it from becoming a transmitting center of Buddhism for the adjacent areas of Central Asia. The valley of Nepal, smaller in size, is accessible to the people of the Gangetic Plains through a number of passes. Like Kashmir, it also became a center for cultivation of Sanskrit. Both the valleys became the repositories of the largest number of Sanskrit manuscripts. Okay. Okay, here you can see the India map of the India, its physical features. Okay. Kartar, Suleiman, Hindu Kush, Hindu Raj, Karakoram, Indus, Mount Everest, 88,448. Okay. Sangpo, Kanchenjunga. Okay. Purvachal. Okay. The foothills of the Himalayas lend themselves to easier clearance than the jungle on the alluvial soil of the plains. It was easy to cross rivers in these areas because of their smaller width, and hence the earliest routes skirted along the foothills of the Himalayas from the west to the east and vice versa. Naturally, the earliest agricultural settlements and states were founded in the foothills in the 6th century BC, and trade routes followed the Terai road. The heart of historical India is formed by its important rivers, which are swollen by the tropical monsoon rains. These consist of the plains of the Indus in the northwest, the Ganga Yamuna Doab in the middle, and the middle Gangetic basin in the east, and the Brahmaputra basin in the extreme east. As we proceed from the plains of the Indus system through the Gangetic basin of the Brahmaputra basin, we find the annual rainfall gradually increasing from 25 centimeter to over 250 centimeter. The Indus vegetation based on 25 to 37 centimeter rainfall, and possibly the western Gangetic vegetation based on 37 to 60 centimeter rainfall could be cleared with stone and copper implements and made fit for cultivation. But this was not possible in the case of middle Gangetic vegetation based on 60 to 125 centimeter rainfall, and certainly not in the case of lower Gangetic and Brahmaputra vegetation based on the 125 to 250 centimeter rainfall. The thickly forested areas, which also contained hard soil, could be cleared only with the help of the iron implements, which appeared at a much later stage. Therefore, the natural resources of the western area were utilized first, and large-scale human settlements generally spread from west to east. Once brought under the cultivation, the Indus Gangetic plains produced rich crops and supported successive cultures. The Indus and the western Gangetic plains mainly produced wheat and barley, while the middle and the lower Gangetic plains mainly produced rice, which also became the staple diet in Gujarat and the south of the Vindhyas. The Harappan culture originated and flourished in the Indus Valley. The Vedic culture originated in the Punjab and flourished in the western Gangetic basin. The post-Vedic culture, mainly on the use of iron, thrived in the middle Gangetic basin. The lower Gangetic Valley and North Bengal first came into limelight in the age of Guptas. And finally, the Brahmaputra Valley covering Assam gained importance in early medieval times. Important powers fought for the possession of these plains and valleys, especially the Ganga Yamuna Doab, um, proved to be the most coveted and contested area. The rivers served as arteries of commerce and communication. In ancient times, it was difficult to make roads, and so men and material were moved by boat. The river roads therefore helped military and commercial transport. Evidently, the stone pillars made by Ashoka were carried to different parts of the country by boat. The importance of rivers for communication continued till the days of the East India Company. Further, the rivers inundated the neighboring areas and made them fertile. They also supplied water to the canals cut from them. However, they caused heavy floods which periodically destroyed towns and villages in the northern plains, and so many ancient buildings have been washed away beyond recovery. Nevertheless, important towns and capitals such as Hastinapur, Prayag, Varanasi, Patliputra, and others were situated on the banks of the rivers. In in modern times, urban sites are selected on the railway and road junctions or in the industrial or mining zones. But in pre-industrial times, towns were mostly situated on river banks. Above all, the rivers provided political and cultural boundaries. These were also formed by mountain barriers. Thus, in the eastern part of the Indian peninsula, the area known as Kalinga, covering the coastal belt of Orissa, was situated between the Mahanadi on the north and the Godavari on the south. Similarly, Andhra Pradesh mostly lay between the Godavari on the north and the Krishna on the south. The deltaic plains formed by these two rivers at their mouths shot into historical importance by the beginning of the Christian era, when they became uh, studded with towns and ports under the Shatavahanas and their successors. Finally, Tamil Nadu was situated between the between the Krishna on the north and Kaveri on the south. The Kaveri Delta extended in the south roughly to the Vaigai River and in the north to the South Pennar River. It formed a distinct geographical zone and became the seat of the Chola power a little before the beginning of the Christian era. This, this area was different from North Tamil Nadu, which consisted of uplands and came into prominence under the Pallavas in the 4th to 6th centuries AD. The eastern part of the peninsula is bounded by the Coromandel Coast. Although the coastline is flanked by the eastern Ghats or the steppes, the Ghats are not very high and have several openings caused by the eastward flow of the rivers into the Bay of Bengal. Thus, communication between the eastern coast on the one hand and the other parts of Andhra and Tamil Nadu. On the other was not difficult in ancient times. The port cities of Arikamedu, modern name Mahabalipuram, and Kaveripatnam were situated on the Coromandel coast. The port cities of Arikamedu, Mahabalipuram, and Kaveripatnam (AMK) were situated on the Coromandel coast. In the western part of the peninsula, we do not have such distinct regional units, but we can locate Maharashtra between the Tapti or Daman Ganga on the north and the Bhima on the south. The area covered by Karnataka seems to have been situated between the Bhima and the upper regions of Krishna on the north and the Tungabhadra on the south. Okay. The coastal area in the extreme southwest of the peninsula was covered by the modern state of Kerala. The sea coast along the western part of the peninsula is called the Malabar coast. Although the coast came to have several ports and small kingdoms, communication between this coast and the adjoining area of Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Kerala was rendered difficult by the high western Ghats, which do not have too many passes. Okay, here you can see a figure of India annual rainfall. Okay, India annual rainfall. In between Indus and the Gangetic systems, in the north and the Vindhya mountains, on the south lies a vast stretch of land, which is divided into two units by the Aravalli Mountains. The area west of the Aravalli is covered by the Thar Desert, although a part of Rajasthan also lies in this region. The vast expanse of the desert made human settlements impossible in ancient times. However, a few fertile oases scattered in the desert were settled, and from early times it has been possible to cross the desert by means of camels. The southeastern portion of the Rajasthan has been a comparatively fertile area since the ancient times, and because of the existence of K3 copper mines in this region, human settlements arose in this area in the Chalcolithic period. Rajasthan shades off into the fertile plains of the Gujarat, which are drained by the waters of the Narmada, the Tapti, the Mahi, and Sabarmati. Situated at the end of the northwestern portion of the Deccan Plateau, Gujarat includes the less rainy region of Kathiawar Peninsula. The coastal area of this state is fairly indented, allowing the existence of several harbors. Therefore, the ancient times, Gujarat has been famous for its coastal and foreign trade, and its people have proved to be enterprising traders. South of the Ganga Yamuna Doab and bounded by the Chambal River on the west, the Sun River on the east, and the Vindhya Mountains and the Narmada River on the south, lies the state of Madhya Pradesh. Its northern part consists of fertile plains. At present, Madhya Pradesh is the largest state in the country and can be broadly divided into two parts, eastern and western. The eastern part, mostly covered by the Vindhyas, did not become important historically till Gupta times in the 4th and 5th centuries AD. But western Madhya Pradesh includes Malwa, which has been scene of historical activities from the 6th century BC onwards. Malwa served as an important hinterland for the Gujarat ports, and many wars were fought between Deccan and northern powers for the possession of Malwa and Gujarat. The Shagas and the Shatavahanas fought for the possession of this key area in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD, and the Marathas and Rajaputs in the 18th century. Each of the areas bounded by rivers and in some cases by mountains, and sometimes identical with deltas and plateaus, constituted a political and administrative unit in which different ruling dynasties rose and fell. On account of different communications in a vast country and the defensibility of the natural frontiers, it was not easy for the ruling class of one region to establish its rule over the other regions. In course of time, every region grew into a distinct cultural unit, having its own style of life and language. But in the northern and western India, most languages were derived from the same Indo-Aryan stock and hence held many elements in common. What is further important, almost all over the country, Sanskrit came to be cultivated and understood. The Vindhya Mountains cut right across the country from west to east and form the boundary between North and South India. The speakers of the Dravidian languages lived south of the Vindhyas and of the Aryan languages north of it. In between lived primitive peoples in the Vindhya regions where they are still found. The coastal areas along the eastern and western Ghats attracted settlers and traders, and the south carried on a flourishing foreign trade. The Vindhyas do not constitute insurmountable barriers. In ancient times, in spite of the difficulties of communication, people moved from north to south and vice versa. This led to a give and take in culture and language. Again and again, the northern powers moved down to the south, and the southern rulers moved up to the north. So also did the traders, missionaries, and cultural leaders, particularly the Brahmanas. The two-way traffic remained constant and helped the development of a composite culture. Although the most regions had well-defined natural frontiers, not every region possessed the resources necessary to keep life going. Therefore, from prehistoric times, the common need for metal and other resources had produced a network of interconnections between the different regions of the country. The utilization of natural resources of the country has been important bearing on its history. Until human settlements developed on a large scale, the Indian plains abounded in thickly forested areas, which provided game and supplied forage, fuel, and timber. In early times, when burned bricks were not much in use, timber houses and palisades were constructed. They have been found in Pataliputra, the first important capital of India. Pataliputra is the first important capital of India. For construction and tool making, all kinds of stones, including sandstone, are available in the country. The earliest human settlements are naturally found in India, in the hilly areas and in those river valleys, which are situated between the hills. In okay, the historical in historical times there were most more temples and sculptures made of stone in the Deccan and South India than in the plains of northern India. The country abounds in copper mines. The richest copper mines are found in Chotanagpur Plateau, particularly in the district of Singhbum. The copper belt is about 130-kilometer long and shows many signs of ancient workings. The earliest people who used copper implements in Bihar exploited the copper mines of Singhbum and Hazaribagh, and many copper tools have been discovered in the South Bihar and parts of Madhya Pradesh. Rich copper deposits are also found in K3 mines in Rajasthan. These were tapped by both pre-Vedic and Vedic people who lived in Pakistan, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Ganga Yamuna Doab. Numerous copper cells have been found in K3 zone, and they seem to be long a period anterior to circa 1000 BC. Since copper was the first metal to be used, it is invested with great purity by the Hindus, and copper utensils are used in religious rituals. Okay, here figure 3 depicts the India copper, iron ore, and gold deposits. Okay, uh, first we will look copper, Gondor, Kionjar. Okay, K3. Okay, Kolar is gold. Kolar has gold deposits. Okay, Raichur. Okay, Okay, the country abounds in copper mines. The richest copper mines are found in Chota Nagpur Plateau, particularly in the district of Singhbum. The copper belt is about 130 kilometers long and shows many signs of ancient workings. The earliest people who used copper implements in Bihar exploited the copper mines of Singhbum and Hazaribagh, and many copper tools have been discovered in the South Bihar and parts of Madhya Pradesh. Rich copper deposits are also found in K3 mines in Rajasthan. K3 mines are in Rajasthan. These were tapped by both pre-Vedic and Vedic people who lived in Pakistan, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Ganga Yamuna Doab. Numerous copper cells have been found in the K3 region, K3 zone, and they seem to belong a period anterior to circa 1000 BC. Since copper was the first metal to be used, it is invested with greater purity by the Hindus, and copper utensils are used in religious rituals. The country today produces no tin. This was scarce even in ancient times. Okay. There is a reason to believe that it was found in Rajasthan and Bihar, but its deposits have been used up. Since bronze can be made only by mixing tin with copper, bronze is equal to tin plus copper. Okay, we do not find many bronze objects in the prehistoric times. The Harappans possibly procured some tin from Rajasthan, but their main supply came from Afghanistan, and even this was limited. Hence, although the Harappan people used bronze tools, their number compared with those found in Western Asia, Egypt, and Crete is very small, and their tools carry a smaller percentage of tin. Therefore, India had no proper Bronze Age, that is, an age in which bronze and implements were mostly made of bronze. From the early centuries and Christian era, India developed intimate connections with Burma and Malaya Peninsula, which possessed plenty of tin. This made possibly the use of bronze on a large scale, especially for the statues of the gods in South India. Tin for the Bihar bronzes of Pala times was possibly obtained from Gaya, Hazaribagh, and Ranchi. For in Hazaribagh, tin ores were smelted till the middle of the last century. India has been rich in iron ores, which are found particularly in South Bihar, eastern Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka. Once the hard art of smelting using bellows and making steel was learned, iron, iron could be used for war and more usefully for the clearance of jungles and for deep and regular cultivation. The formation of the first empire in Magadha in the 6th to 4th century BC owed much to the availability of the iron just south of this region. The large-scale use of iron made Avanti, with its capital at Ujjain, an important kingdom in the 6th and 5th century BC. The Shatavahanas and the other powers which arose south of the Vindhyas may have utilized the iron ores of Andhra and Karnataka. Andhra possesses resources in lead, which explains the large number of lead coins in the kingdoms of Shatavahanas who ruled over Andhra and Maharashtra in the first 2 centuries of the Christian era. The earliest coins, called the punch-marked coins, were made largely of silver, although this metal is rarely found in the country. However, silver mines existed in early times in the Kharagpur hills in the district of and Monkair, and they are mentioned as late as the time of Akbar. This accounts for the use of white metal in the earliest punch-marked coins found in Bihar. Gold is found in Kolar goldfields of Karnataka. Gold is found in Kolar goldfields of Karnataka. A very early trace of gold has been found at a new Stone Age site of around 1800 BC in Karnataka. We have no indication of its exploitation till the beginning of the 2nd century AD. Kolar is considered to be the earliest capital of Gangas of South Karnataka. Kolar is considered to be the earliest capital of the Gangas of South Karnataka. Much of the gold used in the early times was obtained from the Central Asia and Gold and Roman Empire. Gold coins therefore came into a regular use in the first 5 centuries of the Christian era. As the local resources were not sufficient to maintain the gold currency over a long spell of time, once the supply from outside stopped, gold coins became rare. In ancient times, India also produced a variety of precious stones, including pearls, especially in central India or East and South India. Precious stones formed an important item of trade in the articles which were eagerly sought for by the Romans in the early centuries of the Christian era. Okay, so we have completed the chapter 3. In next video, we will discuss chapter 4, the Stone Age. Thank you for listening me. We'll see you in next class. Thank you very much.